All right. Are we good with recording? All right. It's 6:30 now, so we'll go ahead and call tonight's facilities meeting to order. Can I get a roll call?
Wilson,
Here.
Varney, Furtado, Hanauer Friedman,
Here.
Ingram, Locke,
Here.
Vanagatharanat, Lakshan.
Here. Thank you. We do have a quorum. Can I get an approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second, Wilson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. And an approval, Stephanie, you're good? Okay. You had a look on your face, I was wondering. Okay. An approval of the minutes from the September 5th, 2023 meeting? So moved. Hanauer Friedman?
Second.
Second, Locke. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Do we have any public participation this evening? No, no, no. You all look like you were meant to be here, so. Moving on, we'll have, if there's any board communications. Nothing? All right. On to new business. An update on the County Plaza renovation project, Bailey Edward Design, and Brown Russo.
Hi. We have a few, it's a board meeting, right?
Yep. I can start with photos if you want.
Yep.
I think it was,
Was it me? There we go, screen. Perfect.
all right, we got a couple photos. We're starting drywall tomorrow on levels 4 and 3. And then we are stockpiling drywall on the lower level and first floor. So that progress is going well. Our roof is about 75%. We're in the dry with the DINS deck and vapor barrier. So we're proceeding with the drywall installation. So we got a big crew scheduled for Monday to come in and start hanging that, as well as getting ready for those activities. So our third and fourth in-wall framing inspections have all went well with the city. So we're proceeding to start finally hanging some drywall at the plaza. Here's a last shot right here. We have about 20 feet left of the insulation to put down. We finalized the last AHU curb, which is right there. We got it temped in right now temporarily until we're hoping to set the curbs in about 2 weeks once we get the crane off site, and then we'll relocate it over to the west side of the building to set those curbs. So by the end of the week, as long as we don't get too much rain on Thursday, we're hoping to have all the remaining insulation off the ground and on top of the building installed. Some more shots. That's the west side. Those are the new curbs installed, ready to go. Temped in until our air handlers show up around Christmas time. Inside, we have begun metal framing on 5th floor. So with that roof deck replacement delay, we were able to start catching up 5th floor. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be installing the metal studs on 5th floor and then working our way back down. There's another shot, 5th floor, exterior offices. Is that it?
There might be.
Yep, I think that's all I got for today. The change order log, which is kind of item B, but we can pull that up. We had 2 credits this time, so we had a credit for not topping out the ballistic wall paneling up on 4th floor. We worked with the county and the sheriff department on those credits to go over the wants and needs of that. We're able to see that as a value add back to the project. We're going to turn over the remaining material of that to the county once we're finalized with our installation. So there's going to be approximately $15,000 to $20,000 of extra material that could be used elsewhere, or we will find another place in the building to install that. And then the last one is a fencing credit. So we were able to find a alternate manufacturer, as well as reduce some fencing up on the upper parking deck. So that came with a nice credit with our fencing manufacturer and installer, so we're able to pass on those savings to the county.
Any questions with those?
Thank you. Yeah, any questions for,
And then I have one more, oh, go
oh,
ahead.
Mr. Wilson?
Thank you. It's a curiosity for me. Explain to me your worker safety program, and so far I'm assuming there's been no first aids, no lost time accidents, no OSHAs, no nothing, but what is your policy?
Yeah, so we have mandatory site safety orientations for all contractors working on site. So anytime there's a new employee that steps on the job site, they come to us. We fill out a mandatory safety report going over the site logistics plans, trash chutes, job site hours, just the general safety issues we see on our particular job site. Once they do that, they get a hard hat sticker so that we know that they passed their orientation. As far as OSHA, we've been visited by OSHA already, which went well. They did a mandatory just pop-in site visit. There's no infractions as well. We also have a third-party safety inspector, so he comes bi-weekly. We'll get reports here and there. Mainly, the biggest issues we've seen is we'll have like a cut extension cord or something, so we'll be, we throw those away at that time. But other than that, we've only had one incident where we had a carpenter slice his finger last week. He got 2 stitches, so he lost a few hours of that. But we do mandatory reporting on that and document that through our company.
Is that like recorded as a first aid event, or what is that, or if there's, how does that get recorded?
It gets recorded as a first aid, yep.
As a first aid?
Yep.
With
We track
no-
that internally. It was one of our board nurse or carpenters, so.
Alrighty, and then one follow-up. So after that individual cuts his or her fingers, I don't know if it's a guy or a gal,
Mhm.
but let's say after the worker cuts their finger, then is there like a stand down and you explain the event so other people don't repeat that, or what's your policy after the event happens?
Yeah, we discussed the issue. It was just one of those unforeseen things that just, unfortunately, the jobs come with, these type of issues sometimes. So he was picking up a door frame and there was just a little edge that was sharp and caught him. So we try to preach gloves anytime you're working with metals. That's part of our safety orientation is glove and safety glasses as needed. So we directed him to, follow those procedures moving forward.
Okay, and in that particular case, the individual was not wearing gloves or the wrong gloves, or,
Correct. They were not wearing gloves.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
And I got now you can go to the next one. September workforce, I was able to get our minority participation ready. I did just receive one on the way over here, so that number will change slightly on the minority percentage. It'll actually increase, so I'm happy to say we are able to pick up a few female and minority trade partners on this month's pay application. So percentages for females were around 4%, and our minorities will be around 19% after the increase in our billings that I just got.
Stephanie?
On this, and maybe this is just a bigger question, for this update, I don't think we have anything in the packet, but then for the other update, we have 174 pages in the packet. Is there a way that we could get, particularly, I think the change order chart, although it was like oriented different, is in our packet. The first two, the pictures that we just saw weren't in the packet, and this is not in the packet. Is there a way that we could like retroactively have these as attachments that are put like as part of the meeting? You know what I'm saying? Because like if the public wants to see these documents, I think they should be able to find these documents without having to like watch the YouTube video and try to like see that, like it would be really hard to see this. So I think can anything that they provide, I'm fine with them providing it like this, but then it should become part of the public record in some way, shape or form. And because also I just don't get why one group gave us, well, like, what, one word, paint all, yeah, yeah.
So yes, I believe that we can put that in the packet, because it was presented at the meeting, so it is part of the meeting material. The packet that you received, that particular pay app came basically right after our last meeting.
Right.
So it did not have this update in it. And, their next pay app, which I think will happen sometime this week, they'll have that in there. And this particular document, I wanted to share that with you this evening, so I asked Warren Russo if they were ready. I also asked JP Herr if they were ready, but their dates for turning in their workers' hours and so forth just didn't jive with this particular meeting. So, but when they are available, they'll be within the packet. If not, they'll be presented at the meeting if possible, and then we'll get them into the packet on the website.
And yeah, and not, I mean, this obviously I want in there, but also, for the next group, we have pages and pages of pictures of things, but then they just provided us pictures, but you know what I mean? Like, so I mean, the pictures too, just everything that they're providing, I think it would just be nice to have that as a record, because sometimes it's hard to see, like, if you're watching this on YouTube, people aren't gonna be able to see those, you know what I mean? Or like, so like, I guess I just wouldn't get why, like, we'd have one thing. And I'm fine with it being an attachment at the meeting. I'm completely fine with that. It doesn't, need to be ahead of time. But, yeah, awesome.
The photos that you have in there are obviously from a drone for the jail, and in the very near future, the drone pictures they're not going to change. So we'll have inside pictures. We'll get these pictures added. It's no big deal.
All right, any other questions?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Also, congratulations on particularly getting the minority numbers up, and that 19% that's way above what we,
Yeah, no.
so that's awesome.
Nice to see.
And as I've said many times, like the female numbers are tough.
Yeah.
So I reckon like the 3.8? That's probably about
Yeah, yep.
at least half a percentage or more than a full percentage point above the national average. So even that
Yeah.
is,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yes, thank you for all this. Oh, Dana? Yeah. Yeah, we'll do the vote. I just want to make, there are no more questions on this one? Okay, so if we're ready, Stephanie? Oh, okay, yeah, because we'd already discussed those discussion and approval of change orders for ITB 2022-008 County Plaza Renovation Project, change order log, and change orders number 17 and 18 that were attached. Those are on page 4. Can I get a motion to approve those well, actually, let's say, these are both credits, right? So we still do vote on that? Okay. I thought we, well, we definitely want those. Yeah, so can I get a motion to approve that? All right, Vantage Cernot.
Second lock.
And second lock. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you for those. Then, thank you, yes. We'll move on to the satellite jail consolidation update with Reese Tech Reed and PJ Herr.
Okay, we've made some good progress this month. Right now in the building, we've got most of the joist installed. We're finishing that up this week for the main building. We've got the south half loaded with roofing, and we're starting that. We've got masonry going everywhere. So all the structural masonry is complete. You can see where it ties into the steel. And you can see the iron workers working and setting the steel. A lot of good progress on the steel as well. So I'd say we're probably, 85% set out with the iron workers. You can see here we've got the wood blocking around the windows. We also have it now around all the rooftops. It's all complete, and air barrier has started. So that's the first step prior to brick going on, which happened later in this season. These are just more pictures here of the masonry going up. We got a lot of the same stuff happening, so I know these aren't that entertaining of pictures, but you can see the structure. I know you guys probably all saw it coming in, but it's coming together very, very well. So we're excited to start roofing here this week. Just kind of a nice overview.
So they're very beautifully composed photos, like the artistic shadows and stuff. So I'm
kind of
enjoying them.
I'm kind of going off script here because Chris put together the pictures, so I'm just trying to explain everything as he flips through them. But yeah, it's we're making great progress out there, and everything's going really good. So very, very happy with everything that's going on. You want to talk about change orders?
So,
Stephanie, do you have a question
Is
first?
there any clock on the roof in terms of like getting it in before the weather? Like,
Sure.
is that a concern at all? I mean, I guess it was 87 today, so in October, so I don't know what that clock would be, January, but are we,
Yeah.
is there any, like, we have to get a certain level of things done before the weather comes in?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we've been pushing and accelerating certain portions of the critical path on the schedule to make sure we get it in with a window. Right now, there's no concern unless we just have some kind of weather event or that lasts a long time. We're in good shape with the roof. So our concerns are in regards to temperature. And we have a lot of good weather left to get the roof in. We've got about a month's worth of work up there, but it won't take long. So we're in good shape.
Any other questions? Oh, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Same question regarding safety and worker safety. What's your policy, and have there been any events, first aid, OSHA, et cetera, near misses, things like that? Has that
Sure.
occurred?
Yeah. Our safety policy is very robust.
Yeah.
We've got, it kind of starts off with our manual and our personnel training, and then our observations and our audits. So we haven't had any lost time accidents. The job from a safety perspective is going well. I feel like we've got a good team that takes it serious, and that's sometimes the biggest challenge. But our team, not for us, but we deal with all the subcontractors and new people coming in and out of site. So it's a team effort. Anything that's critical, we do job hazard analysis, JHAs, and do specific safety breakdowns on those activities to identify the risks, the potential injuries, and how we can abate each one of those risks and injuries. So that comes with more critical things that we want to make sure we spend extra time on. But we just finished an audit. We have a safety director. Everything's done in-house. We have a safety team within our company that helps train and monitor and ensure that I think we have the right people on the job that are competent for those activities, which is a big deal. Yeah. So it's not just us, it's our responsibility too to make sure that our subcontractors have those same things in place and that they're following the same types of procedures. OSHA plus, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to not just do the minimum, we want to do what's required to keep our people safe and everybody on the job. And we talk about in every owner's meeting what's going on, not just for us, but for the owners, and the other stakeholders that want to come on site. We want everybody to know what's going on and make sure they're aware of any hazards to keep them safe as well. So it's a robust program, depending on what the activities are. We approach it sometimes in different ways.
Yeah, thank you. That's wonderful.
You're welcome.
Definitely want the workers to be safe and no one injured, and of course, there's always financial stuff related to that, but really, the safety of the workers is what counts. And
Yeah.
then, so, one more, you said you perform observations, which is wonderful. So who actually does is that a, sort of like a checklist of things you look at, or certain supervisors do observations?
Sure, yeah. We have, our program's evolved here recently. We now have like an app that helps guide us through the safety audits and checklists. Yeah, we want to guide our folks to ensure that, you know, it's hard to just go out there and look. You know, I mean, everybody goes out there and looks for safety.
Yeah.
It's all our responsibilities, not just mine, the superintendents that are out on site, but the foreman and the workers to watch over the fellow workers to make sure that everything's in order. And we have a lot of that. So, but yeah, we have a program that allows us to kind of document and guide anyone that's doing an audit through the process. It's real easy. And then it gives accountability as well, right? So we're able to see that people are doing it if we're not particularly there that week or day or whatever. So it's a good program.
Well, good. So then you would say you have a strong safety culture then?
That's the goal, yeah. And we're always trying to improve on that and get better, and we are. So, yeah, I like to think we have a strong safety culture. Yes, sir.
All right, one more question.
We've got
Oh,
others
sorry.
who want to ask too. Yeah.
Mine's just a comment. And maybe they knew the drone was flying by, but I do notice every single teeny tiny person has a helmet on.
So- All right, was there anybody else? We could go back to Jeff for more. Okay, go ahead.
One more item. So what is your critical path?
Our critical path on the schedule for completion, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it goes through masonry, right? So that's our most critical item that's right in front of us right now, and then it goes through security after that. So when you're building a jail, the most complicated part of it is the security and the commissioning. And when I say security, I mean the security electronics. So the SEC, that contractor, we have a DEC and a SEC. So the detention contractors, kind of like your hardware, your locks, your cell doors, your specialty stuff, all that stuff is kind of just normal construction stuff. The security electronics portion of it requires a team effort from Dana's team, the owners group, basically all stakeholders, because we have to get, you know, everything from cameras to intercoms to access control to monitoring, all these different systems up and running and commissioned to a point to where the county staff can take over and be efficient at operating their new space. And that process really takes a long time. So as soon as we can, we're starting to implement those items, and really we can't do that until we get through the masonry. We just have months of masonry. There's just so much of it. So we're hoping to wrap that up here before the end of the year inside, and then we'll actually be doing some brick through the cooler months, just to get the job done. But we'll be transitioning to a focus on that and really start working with the all stakeholders to bring that to a point where we can turn that system over.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions? Then we can move ahead to the change orders for the satellite jail construction, ITB 2022-009. Those are numbers 10, 11, and 12 on page 183 in your packet.
So, yes, excuse me. Change order number 12. When we were doing our excavation, one of the areas where we're connecting the existing jail to the new jail requires a new corridor wall. That was determined that there was a large concrete duct bank underneath right where we were going to put the wall. We were originally going to tear that concrete out, pour new footings. After investigating that and running all the information through our structural engineer, it was determined that we could leave that duct bank and actually use it as the support for that wall. So what change order 10 is the credit for eliminating the extra excavation and new footing. So that's a $6,905 credit. Change order number 11, there were some return air temperature sensors basically in the ductwork that was decided that it really needed to be changed into wall thermostat sensors. So that was a change there. That's an increase of $6,013.04. And change order number 12, after some review between the contractor and the design team, we realized that there were a few fire-rated walls that were missing some fire dampers through the duct penetrations that were going through those. So this is an increase of $4,608.48 to add the required fire dampers in those areas.
All right, any questions on those? Oh, Mr. Wilson?
Thank you. Item number 11, the air temperature sensors, this is kind of truncated, so it was originally designed to be in the ductwork, and now the owner prefers it to be on the wall, and that was the driver?
Yes, it's for more control in those areas where those, I believe it was the offices.
So this really was an owner's preference?
Yeah, it's really the captain wanting that change.
Well, that's fine. Okay.
So that they can control the.
Yeah, it just gives each space more control,
All right, for each
independent
space,
of
sure.
each
It's
other.
its own zone, each space, I take it? Okay.
Correct.
It's more than one sensor, or more than one control.
Okay, thanks.
Yes,
And the fire dampers in the duct penetration, they're adding fire dampers?
correct.
Yes.
Okay, so that just was not in the design, and we need the fire dampers because why?
They're going through fire-rated walls. and
Okay.
They were just not coordinated. We missed a few of those locations that need dampers.
Yeah, so it was a miss in the design, or was a discovery item later, or?
Yeah, it was something that our design team didn't coordinate every single one of the
Okay.
locations and discovered them before we got too far ahead.
All righty, thank you.
Stephanie?
This isn't actually about the change orders, but since it's on the same page, the pay applications, at least this is for me, I don't need to see the full payroll report and have you all print it out. Like, it's interesting, you know what I mean? Like, I study this stuff, so I find it super interesting. But as long as I get that little chart with the 6 numbers, and I know they have to turn it all into you, so like we have it, right? I don't know that we at least me personally, don't necessarily need the 40 pages of, you know what I mean? Like, all of it. It's up to y'all. You could work it out. But I just wanted to say that, like, if I get that little chart, that'll tell me the number, you know what I mean? And, you know, if we ever get that little chart and there's a concern, we could drill down, ask you to bring in the data. But I don't know that we necessarily, you know, these packages that continually be two, you know what I mean, 2 sets of staples. I don't want you to think that that's, I know that this is my issue. So like, but I don't want you to think that I'm expecting you to provide that level of detail. I mean, it's interesting, but really all I want is those 6 numbers.
No, I agree. That would save whoever had to go through and redact information the trouble of redacting it. And I think as long as we have the general breakdown,
Right.
if there's nobody who needs.
I mean, because y'all would still have to turn it into Dana for like like whatever the requirements were, right, that y'all agreed to. But I don't know that we necessarily need it printed out for us maybe make your life a little bit easier, since I usually make your life more difficult.
All right, anything else on the change orders? So can we get a motion to approve? Oh, Mr. Wilson and Ms. Finch, they're not. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, those pass. So moving ahead to the discussion and award of contract for ITB 2023-004, the Champaign County Courthouse Parking Lot Access Control Project. We have Bailey Edward for this one. Thank you. Carla, your mic is off.
My mic's not on. Sorry, I apologize. I did not bring those numbers with me, but I believe you have them in your packet. Deuce was the low bid at about 117, and there was an alternate for $18,000 to reseal the parking lot and retape. Oh, thank you. And then basically a no-cost change to go to concrete for the entry apron. So I believe the letter that we had written had recommended taking at least the base bid and the seal coat at $18,000 should there be money left over.
Dana, do you have in your memory or in front of you what the original budgeted amount was that we were trying to keep that to? I feel like Deuce is under that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 150,000 that was budgeted, and it's in our capital asset plan for this year.
And what would the benefit be of resealing the parking lot at the same time, I guess, is my next question.
The benefit in resealing of the parking lot is that the parking lot is 20 years old. It's been resealed 6 or 7 years ago. We're seeing a number of cracks. There's some large ones, and then there's a bunch of smaller that are fraying out. So the benefit is sealing up those. We'll have County Highway come over, and they'll put a product in the larger cracks, and then we'll reseal it. So by resealing it, you're hopefully keeping the lot in decent shape for some time into the future. When water gets in there, particularly during cold season, it freezes, expands, as you might imagine, and with asphalt, it creates more cracks, and it also pushes up, and so it becomes kind of a mess and an eyesore, and can get away with it can get away with from you pretty quickly if you don't maintain it in our climate. So that will be a big benefit. It needs to be restriped as well, and as we roll into this project, we want to renumber it, making it easier for the 95 staff members who will be parking in there. So it's a huge benefit.
Yeah, so I guess the restriping and the renumbering would be the big benefit of tying this in together. Got it. Oh, Stephanie?
Yeah, I always have a question when there's such a gap in bids. I mean, this is almost 100, it's more than 100K. And so I hear where you say, we're sure that they could do the work, but could you walk me through why? I mean, I had the same question with the fiber optics thing that we just approved at an earlier board meeting. That's a big gap. We kind of know this one firm because we've got a project with them going on right now. Where does that confidence come from? Anytime I see a low bid that is, I bring this up because there was a city up in, LaGrange is a city up by Chicago. They just had a bid not that long ago, a year or so ago, to repaint the inside of their water tower. They took the low bid, it was $30,000 less. Now there's giant bubbles, and they're gonna have to repaint their water tower to the tune of $400,000. So I'm always cautious about low bids that I want to get us the lowest bid, but I also, when I see that kind of gap, it always gives me a pause because, I mean, materials cost what materials cost, right? So is the difference labor? You know what I mean? How were they able to come in that much less, right? Or what is the what exactly is it? And I'll stop talking, but
Okay. Well, neither Carla or I could answer the question on what the difference is between Ron Russo's bid. I honestly believe, since we went after just about everybody in town who does this kind of work and really struggled to find contractors to give us a bid. And prior to opening up bids on the 19th, we were going to open up bids 2 weeks prior, and we had a couple of contractors come to us and said, hey, we're not going to bid because we've got too much stuff going on. So we extended. Born Russo was the one that was definitely going to provide us with the number. And honestly, I not to make them look bad or at all, because that's not my intent here, but I just think they stuck a number out there to make some profit. I think Deuce's numbers are realistic and fair. We've done work with Deuce, both at the county plaza. They did the parking deck work here recently, and did a fine job there. We've done work with them over the years in 2 or 3 different projects, parking lot related, concrete related. So we have a high degree of confidence that Deuce can do this work at the price that they gave us, and I think it's a fair price. Again, I can't speak for Born Russo and how they came up with 224, but yeah, we think that was exceedingly high. We do think that the 117, 750, as well as the 18, if you look at the difference on alternate number 1, they're much more obviously in line. And these are 2 issues. They don't normally do this work. They hire that out, and I don't know whether they're using, some of the big boys in town or some of the small folks in town that are going to actually come out and put a top coat on. So, but Bailey Edwards has talked to Deuce. Bailey Edwards put the bidding document together and went through it with them after their price came in and the bids were open. And we have high confidence that they'll be able to do the work. I've got great concerns. I don't like seeing just 2 bids, and certainly bids that are this far apart I don't like, but we're really stuck on this at this point in time. We actually thought about taking this on ourselves, being the general, but we just got so much going on right now that, Chris does not have time, nor do I. To do that. I mean, it can be done and could be done, but I just felt this is the way to go. And again, we have high confidence that Deuce will do a terrific job and do it timely, and we'll have a working system and be in good shape.
I appreciate that. That gives me, just anytime you see something that's that far apart, and especially like you said, you did a really nice job explaining the difficulty of getting bids at all. And so I agree with you. Anytime you see 2 bids, you're like, I'd really like a 3rd one. And then when they're that far apart, I feel like you just at least got to ask the question. It does help to know. I don't think I realized they had done work with us before. So that gives me a much greater sense of confidence. So thank you for that.
Mr. Wilson?
I'm agreeing with Stephanie as far as something's glaringly wrong here. And so I'm hesitant on this. Are we required to go by low bidder? Is that a requirement?
No.
Lowest responsible.
Yeah.
And so the one thing, I've been involved in a few bids over my lifetime, but it just is Deuce missing scope?
I spoke with their estimator right after we opened the bids to make sure you have the concrete in here, you've got, the seal coat in here. The Jersey barriers are staying on site, because those were questions that had come up during bid. They went back and looked at all their bid too, because as low bidder, if you see that gap there, of course, there's some fear there as well that they've missed something. Sure. And so when I talked to their estimator, they They said they went back through all of their numbers. I can add, I'm happy to talk to Braun Russo about where their numbers were. I was thinking it was maybe a difference between a subcontractor that was going to self-perform the concrete and a general contractor that's not performing, is pure oversight. And no matter, you know, some of these smaller projects, the larger the company gets, you still have to have, you know, X number of people touch all the things, because that's what they do. You have
Yeah.
contracts, you have someone that does the you know, the
That's
estimate.
still a heck of a markup.
It's, yeah, exactly. So it may just be that they're now at a point where they are much more competitive on larger projects because they have so many people that have to be involved to actually do the work behind the scenes as the management. I don't know, but I am happy to talk to Braun about that if we have questions.
I would, just for, you know, more fodder, I guess, to think about, but Braun Russo is doing an excellent job at County Plaza.
Oh, yeah.
They've bid on multiple projects that we've had before. It's very possible that they just threw this together. And I mean, I don't want to speak for them, but it's very possible that they just threw a number out there to get the project and to frankly help us out. They've also put bids together where they were the low bidder and by a lot and had to pull their bid back. So, and those kind of things do happen. It's happened twice, actually, in a couple of recent years, but they were very apologetic about it, but they obviously did a great job on the plaza and putting their bid together and were able to secure the low bid there. And we've got a great project moving forward, so.
Stephanie?
Correct me if I'm wrong, they yanked their bid for the jail, I think, right? Because they like had miscalculated something on the cell. So as long as because that's always my concern, is that in their Excel spreadsheet that they mistyped a number for the formula. I mean, that's like, I mean, at the end of the day, once we award the contract, that's kind of not our problem. But like, that is always my concern, right? And if you say that they redid the math and we know that they just did a project for us and it came in good, that to me makes me feel, and you know, just like you said, maybe they were like, look, we don't really need the job, but if you pay us this, we'll do it, type of thing. You know what I mean? Type of thing. Yeah. But
mean,
I
I also-
appreciate the discussion.
Yeah, I kind of take into account your initial budget of $150,000 for the project because you have the knowledge and know that's probably approximately what we were going to be paying. So this makes more sense to me in line with that. And your explanations, both Carla and Dana, are satisfactory, I think, as far as how this came together. Anybody else? Comments, questions? I guess now what we would.
One more.
Oh, Jeff?
Thank you. This is fixed price, not T&M, right? It's fixed price.
Correct. Yes, it is a hard bid number.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we would need to, I guess, discuss whether, or are we looking to vote whether we would take Bailey Edwards' recommendation of alternate 2, so Deuce with the base bid, alternate 2, addition of $18,000 for the refinishing, and 1 if the funds are not available. But I would think that with our initial budget of $150 for capital assets on this, that we have the funds for alternate 1, get the refinishing done. So, do you have?
I just want to make sure I know what so are we
Yeah.
voting for both alternates?
Oh, no.
There's no add or deduct for alternate 2.
So but we're
so
voting for
there-
alternate 1 too,
Yeah,
right?
Deuce
Okay.
is going to be using, alternate 2 was using concrete versus asphalt to fill in where we're going to be expanding the drive on the south side. They're using concrete, no price difference or increase, so.
Okay. So then we're looking for, here we go. If anybody would move to award the contract for ITB 2023-004 for that parking lot access control project to Deuce, alternate
Oh,
Jennifer?
I move.
Oh,
Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have to finish reading.
I move for all of it that you just said
Yeah.
with option one as well.
alternate one, okay.
Alternate one, yeah.
You have a second? Oh, Ellie, I saw you hand first, so we'll do Hannah Friedman for second. All in favor of Deuce with alternate 1 and alternate 2? Aye.
We don't need alternate 2.
Well, it's included, there's just no price to it. So, any opposed? Okay, so that passes. No other business, well, I guess one other business question. Sorry, I missed F. It's like squeezed in there between other business. So update on the County Plaza elevator renovation project.
Oh, I can start, you can chime in. So the low bidder was Otis. There were multiple bids. Yeah, we had actually had 5 kind of pickup plans and we're working with it, and finally 3 submitted on bid opening day. Otis was a low bid. We've been working with them since the bid opening on a contract. We've had a couple of meetings by phone, and we'll be talking to them again tomorrow. There's a question about builder's risk. Part of their issue, our issue, is that by the time that they really get started, the general contractor, Born Russo, does not have the elevator project at all. It's no piece, no part of it. They'll be exiting the building, so it'll be Otis there. So from our standpoint, builder's risk really needs to be with Otis. They need it for their employees, they need it for, if something happens inside the facility and the facility's damaged somehow, that shouldn't have to fall to us as the owner of the county. So we need to sit down. That's the last piece on the contract that needs to be dealt with. So we'll sit down with them tomorrow by telephone and see if we can't get this. We thought we had it, based on our last call 2 weeks ago, thought we had it done, but when the contract showed back up, they still had the same language in it. So, anyway, it's the last little piece, but we need to get that going, hopefully signed, so we can get the information sent over to Bailey Edwards for approvals to move forward with equipment and get equipment ordered. So, once that is put in place, the clock starts ticking. We got about 56 weeks. It takes about 14 weeks per elevator once equipment's here, and there are 3. So we're really looking at October of next year moving in. We will be, in fact, Carla and I had a construction meeting this afternoon at 3, and one of the topics of discussion there is we'll be reaching out to the city of Urbana. The building will really be done hopefully the end of May, middle part of June at the latest. We would seriously like to move the sheriff into the building once the larger elevator to the north is put in. It gets him out of the old building, but it gets him set up. It allows us time to make sure that, we'll get the computers going, get the internet going throughout the building. It allows us time to do a bunch of things within the building to get it set and ready for the move, including, start to move in furniture and other things in offices. So it makes it a lot easier for the big move to happen later in the fall. So, but Otis is the key to get that moving with the elevator. So very confident that they can do the work. They're very confident they can do the work and do it in that time frame. Got anything you?
No, I think that really sums it up. We just need to make sure the county's protected before we move forward, so.
Stephanie?
I appreciate that a great deal as finance chair.
But just out of curiosity, do we not put who has to assume builder's risk in the RFP?
Yeah.
Yes, it's there.
Okay.
And it's spelled out. in
Okay,
that
I mean, I
document.
assume so. I just was
Yeah.
like, so, okay,
Yeah,
all right, I
it's-
appreciate.
it's
Well, thank
spelled
you
out.
for
They know
making,
that. Yeah.
thank you for making sure that contract, is there any, we keep hearing on the board how everything on earth is on back order. Like, every major piece of equipment we get is like on perpetual back order. Is there any at all concern, like the elevator stuff getting here in a timely manner? Or is that something that Otis has talked about? I don't know if elevators are on back order like everything else, it seems like in this country right now.
Yes, I mean, that is a subject that we have crossed with Otis, and they believe that they can get it here within the time frame of that 56 weeks once the contract's signed. So, we'll see if we'll hold them to it. We are seeing there are some, fairly lengthy lead items, big electric pieces, big pieces of equipment that have, boards, computer boards, gears, stuff like that. It's just, they make them, the air handlers they make pretty fast, but they're not any good without the computer guts. So they just sit there on a factory floor or back lot until folks are able to provide what they need to get them working. So we believe that they'll be fairly timely, so.
Anybody else have questions or? All right. Thank you for the update. So now moving on to other business. One thing I'd like to bring up so that I don't forget to contact you about this later, Dana, is I'd love to get another tour going maybe before next month's meeting of the Bennett Building, just because I know there's people who were on the committee who weren't even on the board the last time we had that tour. So I think, the Bennett Building, the County Plaza.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just so you know, when we say, we don't refer to yet the Bennett Building, because on every document that was
Yeah.
produced for the construction project, it's known as County Plaza. So-
I know. I'm
so
just trying to get it
I
in my head
apologize for
too.
that, but it's,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
I'm trying to get used to that. It's always
yeah.
difficult to start changing, even this room, like starting to call it Shields Carter was a process, and I've gotten used to that and learned how, so.
I think we can arrange that. The roof should be done. All of the steel work has been completed in terms of what needs to be lifted into the ceilings. That's why they're starting work on framing out on the fifth floor. So, yeah, that should be no problem.
Yeah, we can talk and finalize that, but if anybody wants to plan to go on that tour, what we did last time was, it was like, we met at 5:15 at the building the night of the facilities meeting, so that would be on Tuesday, November 7th. I will let you know, we will have that to you ahead of time if that is set and final.
Just
Stephanie?
bring
Closed-toe
closed-toed
shoes?
shoes. Okay. Pants would be preferable.
You can hand us out hard hats and glasses, safety glasses?
We should have, I don't know about enough safety glasses. Usually they don't like sharing those, but hard hats we certainly can dole out. But yeah, I mean, just wear appropriate clothing. Of course, be a little bit different there. Weather could be a little bit different in a month, so you might have to wear a coat. But yeah, we'll get information out and reiterate this in the document for the next meeting.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Wasn't there some other field trip? You were like to another facility we were talking about, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, we had talked about.
I don't remember
Ilias.
what it was.
Ilias.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so I guess that's, maybe not for next month, of course, but we can talk about that for a future one. Okay. So no officers report. Next meeting is, as we said, November 7th, 6:30. We will let you know well ahead of time if there will also be the tour where you would meet at 5:15. Items to be placed on the consent agenda are 6B and B. That's right, okay. And that's it. We are adjourned. Thank you.